Peace to the family. Peace, y'all. Give everybody a second to get situated. Peace. Peace, love, and light. Peace. Greetings. Peace, y'all. Yes, indeed. Trending Topic Tuesday. Whew. We're going to get into it. It's a lot of excitement going on in the planet. A lot of things going on. And as we always do, we are going to attempt to, as best as we can, summarize, put things in perspective. You feel me? We're going to summarize and put things in perspective so we can get a general overview of the news and not get lost by things going this way, things going that way, and every which way. It is a 44-day break it down. It's more like a 55-day. I'm there for that as well. I'm a 55. It's your born day. Happy born day, right? Happy born day to my brother Just B as well. This is a crux day. I don't even know whether to say that this is Scorpio or Sagittarius. Does anybody know? Does anybody know? Is today Scorpio or Sagittarius?
I thought Sagittarius started on the 25th or the 26th.
No.
No?
It would always, if even it would say the 23rd. But I know, people born on this day consider themselves Sagittarius, right? Shout out to my brother Just B. He considers himself a cusp baby. You know what I'm saying? So this is considered somewhat Sagittarius, filtering in with the last degrees of Scorpio, third decadent, right? Yeah, so Sag is considered today. If you guys, it's a mixture, right? Somewhat of a mixture. And then we could speak about the relationship that Sagittarius and Scorpio has combined, and that they combine as the co-conspirators to kill the sun in Capricorn, right? So Scorpio and Sagittarius are co-conspirators in the killing of the sun, or the killing of the Christ. How so? Because the Scorpio stinger and the Sagittarius arrow are both responsible for administering the blows to the sun that renders the sun dead for 3 days, and the end of Sagittarius as it goes into as at the end of Sagittarius as it goes into Capricorn. The tip of the arrow that Sagittarius has as the archer is aimed at what's called Antares. And Antares is the heart of Scorpio. It's a red star in the sky, right? And they put the licks on it. And but they're really co-conspirators to take the sun down and put it into a watery grave for 3 months of Capricorn, which consists of Capricorn, Aquarius, and Pisces, right? And that is also the correlation to when they say Jesus died for 3 days and they had to roll a rock over it, right? Pisces would be the rock. For the most part, Pisces would be Peter. So Pisces would be the rock. The grave is watery. It's also Piscean, such as Neptunian, very deep watery grave. Right? Yeah, Scorpio attacks the Sagittarius. Sagittarius shows the arrow at the Scorpio. So Scorpio technically bites the heels of the centaur, which is Sagittarius. Sagittarius responds by turning around and aiming the arrow directly at the heart of Scorpio, which is Antares. Somewhere in between that, the shooting of Antares in Scorpio is what kills the sun and sends it into the underworld for the months of winter. This is all mythology. It's astrological mythology because this is the way that the cycles have operated forever, as long as I know. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, Aries, and you're seeking help for self-control. I thank you for that open acknowledgement. That's very Aries-like, right? Because Aries is self-control. Aries is self-identity. It's the ego. It's the first sign. Please DM me. You know what I'm saying? So I can help as best I can to assist you, to direct you to somebody who can specifically help in whatever area that you feel that you might need self-controlling. Right? What's telling is tomorrow is a new moon. And this is going to be a powerful new moon tomorrow because it's on the 23rd, and you should be setting the intentions for 2023. Feel me? Moon spells. Okay? Don't let the words spook you. Moon spells. How to use the phases of the moon to get what you want. Right? I mean, that's what we in it for, right? You dig what I'm saying? So I want you to be very intentional as I'm speaking to myself as well, because everything that I tell you, I'm literally looking in the mirror. So I'm speaking to myself, and I'm reminding myself as I'm reminding you as well to be very mindful, you know what I'm saying, of this cycle, of this window that will be open tomorrow, where you can intentionally, right, make proclamations about what your manifestation for 2023 needs to be. You know what I'm saying? How you want things to work out. This is a key time to do it. If people don't, because everything gets so scandalized. I think that's probably the word. I'm looking for another word. I can't think of it right now. But the word spell or the concept of doing things for the moon, you know, all of this stuff it's like taboo, I guess, in some societies because, you feel me, of what people think. Yeah, so JFK died today as well. This is the anniversary of the assassination of Kennedy. We're going to get to that real quick. I just wanted to say, setting the intentions is think of it like at nighttime, under new moons is when the farmer, right, puts the seeds in the ground, right? Puts the seeds in the ground, because when the moon is black, when the moon is dark and you can't see it, that's when the moon is strongest, when it's bioluminescence. You feel me? So the bioluminescence of the sun, of the moon, is actually what's drawing the seed, or the seed is germinated and was pulling it to the surface, is that bioluminescence, the black light. So it's the same thing. If you put your plants in fertile soil on new moons, it germinates your plants. So by the time the full moon comes around and the fullness of the light, the illumination of the light is casting down on that particular seed of intention that you have put into fertile soil, is giving it support, and is actually breaking ground. So now you can see it. You can see a manifestation of it. A seed put into the ground, we cannot see it, but we do know that there's evidence of it germinating, growing, and rising to its true potential. And then we're able to bear witness of that when it breaks ground. It's the same thing with a child that's in the stomach. You can't physically see the child, but you see the belly protruding, right, and getting substantially bigger. And then after 9 months, once the the waters broke, then the baby comes forth. You know what I'm saying? And we're able to see the baby breaks the plane with its crown, and it's crowned, right? And now it's, it literally comes out of the throne and is here into this kingdom, right? And then that's the phases of manifestation, and then the games begin, right? So yeah, you will want to look into, how to prepare yourself for new moons, of which tomorrow is going to be a powerful new moon. I want to dedicate this build, as well as tomorrow, to the light of an ancestor that I evoked the other day, without knowing that the elder had transitioned. So I was telling a story on my last live about my experiences out in California in 2012, right? And how I was assisted and supported by that community. And I also spoke about some of the roadblocks that I ran into in the community as well. I was out there speaking about Fukushima when it was very unpopular to do so, because it had not been signed off by the gurus. The master teachers wasn't talking about it. So people was like, what are you talking about? Because, you're only supposed to parrot what the master teachers say, things of that nature. And I was up there raising a ruckus, attempting as best as I could to put people on to the dangers of radiation in Fukushima and how it's going to impact melanated people unfairly, because we already have thyroid issues, And if you don't know, the radiation, it destroys thyroid function. So I'm like, shit, we're already susceptible as a people, to have terrible thyroid issues. And plus, they're going to inundate our communities with radiated seafood. They ain't going to throw that food away. They're going to get it out the ocean and they're going to feed it to you. And that's what they were doing. I suspect they're probably doing it to this day. But I spoke about a elder in a community that did assist some of my efforts to raise some awareness, and she did it from her being a representative of a international spiritual community. She is like the melanated. She would be like the Black Mother Teresa, and she had a center and an ashram right in the South Central. Believe it or not, with a sweat lodge in it and everything. And I was speaking about the elder, and I did not know that the elder may transition. You feel me? And it was brought to my attention that this elder has transitioned. So I want to send peace, love, and light to the life and the legacy of Mata G. Okay? It's not easy. But this elder, this amazing elder, her birthday's tomorrow on this new moon. And this is the day that she will be memorialized or laid to. This is her wake. It's taking place on her born day. So I want to send peace, love, and light to Rhonda, Sister Rhonda, and my brother Kwame, and other members of Sister Mata G's, sphere of influence, her direct circle, and the people who have been impacted the most by her work, and for those of us who may not know about her, we pray that someday that there will probably be a documentary or something done on this amazing ancestor. Give me 1 second. I got to do this. Yes. Yeah, so she was like the clan mother, you know what I'm saying? Literally, she was like the melanated Mother Teresa. This is the elder right here, you know. Srinatha Devi Premananda, a respected spiritual teacher who selflessly served for 37 years as a beacon of light in South Central Los Angeles and the world, transitioned peacefully on Saturday, November 12th. Affectionately known as Mata G, she was a founder of Eagle Wings of Enlightenment Center, a LA-based center dedicated to world peace and nonviolence. Under her loving guidance, the center grew from humble beginnings to one that draws people from all over the world who come for blessings. Literally, y'all. I mean, and we don't hear these stories. You know what I'm saying? And it's very hard for us to believe that there's members of our society, members of our community that are such loved and heralded around the world. You know, there's like when the Dalai Lama and them came to town, you know, and all sorts of international figures, they had to come and check with her. You know, they had to check in first, you know what I'm saying, with her in South Central, you know. She was very much into the maintenance of the multiplicities of spiritual systems and religions. So her people come from Louisiana. She come from Louisiana. You know what I'm saying? She was a Christ loving individual, and she had a very distinct relationship with the Virgin Mary. And she also, again, she held the ashram, so all of the you know, the aspects of the Indian Hindu aspects of quote unquote, I would say, religion, you know, she intertwined a lot of that into her demonstrations, and she pulled, you know, she demonstrated. So this is who she is. This is what she done. You know what I'm saying? She had counseled thousands and held daily prayers for peace and forgiveness. She also taught meditation and the ancient science of yoga. Through her leadership, the center conducted annual health fairs, regular Bible studies, and rites of passage classes for youth, outreach programs to clothe and feed the poor, and supported a local women's shelter. Mataji prevented men and women from committing suicide and helped to diffuse violence and drunken brawls in the surrounding community in South Central LA. Mataji counseled parents who had lost children from gun violence, teenagers who went astray, and particularly young boys who could not seem to find their way. In Joshua Tree, California, Mataji oversaw Our Lady Queen of Peace Sanctuary, a beautiful and supreme retreat center dedicated to Mother Mary. Okay? So, she was in charge of events and affairs in Joshua Tree. Okay? So once again, you know, say a going home prayer for this elder. She will be interned or remembered tomorrow on the 23rd during this new moon, which will be her born day as well. It's her born day as well. So this is going to be powerful for the city of Los Angeles, for the residents of Los Angeles, you know what I'm saying, to the whole entire West Coast family, you know. Yes, please keep her in your prayers, you know. This is one of those universal umis, you know what I'm saying? Mataji means like mother. She's a universal mother. She holds space in her heart for all of her children, and she didn't make distortions or distinctions, you know what I'm saying? She loved everybody equally. So we want to, yeah, a lot of people have never heard of some of the most powerful people on this planet in the spiritual realm. You know what I'm saying? And this is not to denote or be dismissive of people whose names are known or are on the forefront, but there's a lot of people, you know, that are doing the work, that have been doing the work for a long time, and they don't get the credit. They don't get the fanfare, you know what I'm saying? But the work The work is cemented. It's there. So for 37 years, you know what I'm saying, she been putting in work consistently, you know. And now that she has transitioned, hopefully, you know, we could keep her name alive, keep the institution strong, you know what I'm saying? And like I said, you know, maybe bring her story to the people so they could still know, you know, what was here, what was amongst them. And there's a lot of elders that are still here that are amongst us that are doing the work that can use some of our good energy. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, there's so many people's names that need to be mentioned and heard. You feel me? She's just one of many. Yeah, so, yeah, you know, yes, she's a great mother. So, you know, in your prayers and your proclamations or whatever else that you feel yourself doing, you know what I'm saying, just put a prayer of peace out there once again for these elders who have been, you know, in service for our community for decades upon decades. You know what I'm saying? And again, she all of this was being done in the center of South Central Los Angeles. When I would go to her home, you know, she was in the middle of the hood. You know what I'm saying? But she had that ashram, that location that she was at. It was the pinnacle of peace on her block. You know what I'm saying? When you came in there, you were no longer in the throes of what was going on outside in South Central. She created an environment that insulated and incubated people from the BS, point blank, period. You feel me? So we want to just acknowledge her magnificence, her beauty, and just, you know, I'm taking the moment in time just to put the world on notice that this great elder has joined the realm of the ancestors. So if we can, you know, let's just acknowledge her. Appreciate that, y'all. Where do I go from here? I want to get right into the news. Bring some things to our attention. All right, just give me 1 second. Figure this thing out. Because there's so much going on. Whew. Give me 1 second. Top 5 gaslighting phrases. We're going to get to that. Harassment. I don't expect you to get my name right. That's cool. That's cool as well. Ancient Roman roads. That's cool. That's cool. That's cool. All right, so let's even talk about, let's just real quick, let's just go through this. I want to do that. Okay. Turned up on her. What are they saying? They're saying that she's in violation for disrespecting their ancestors and the monument like that. So they wasn't feeling her. She thought that she was going to be heralded because she made it to the top. I guess when the instructions are people are not supposed to go up top or what have you. You know, she was trying to make it an IG moment, and they they let her know that they was displeased with, how she was showing up and showing out. Yeah, so it's a good thing just to see that there's still people in the world that hold things sacred enough that they're drawing a line, a boundary to say, we not here for this. You know what I'm saying? You violated, that's a violation. That was in Mexico at one of the monuments. It looked like it could be a pilgrim. It could be, she looked like, she was from somewhere in the Hispanic spectrum, Latin world, or what have you. But they just wasn't feeling it. You know what I'm saying? Again, that level of rebuking, it doesn't necessarily always fall at the feet of the colonizers, who more so deserve it than anybody else. You know what I'm saying? But at least people is pushing and fighting back. You know what I mean? At least they're showing their dissatisfaction with people who violate things that are sacred. You feel me? And we got to get back to that as a people, because, we see everybody else defending what they consider to be sacred, right? And the lengths that they're willing to go to defend things that they consider sacred, even if they took them things from you, right? 2 new movies, Till and what does this other movie say? Something during the Holocaust. Connect the dots between Jim Crow and fascism. So here they go. I messed that title up, but I'll get to the meat of the story. For the most part, they got some movies that are coming out from, from Hollywood. Who has read the book yet, Empire of Their Own? I put that out as a book test or a book, request. Has anybody went to any lengths to do any research and do any reading on the Empire of Their Own, on the discovery, on the foundational history of Hollywood? Anybody? Nonetheless, here they go, attempting to use Hollywood as a vehicle to show how much commonality melanated people and quote unquote Jews have together, right? We got more in common than we do have differences. So, man, we need to get together because our enemy collectively is white supremacy. That's what they're telling you, right? Let me remind you once again, Empire of Their Own is the name of the book. Let me put it up here. And you can probably even go and get the audio book right now. And it speaks about the creation of Hollywood, right? In no uncertain terms, by themselves. This is their story that they're telling. This is not a hit job. This is from their mouth. Okay? In 1937, as a correspondent for the Baltimore Afro-American covering the Spanish Civil War and the rise of fascism in Europe, the poet Langston Hughes made an astute observation. Fascism, Hughes concluded, was essentially Jim Crow with a foreign accent. We Negroes in America do not have to be told what fascism is in action, Hughes said before a gathering of the Second International Writers' Conference. We know its theories of Nordic supremacy and economic suppression have long been realities to us, right? And I cannot argue with that. That is a historical fact. You feel me? But also what needs not to be glossed over, and the fact that we passed Veterans Day on the 11th, and I didn't really hear too many people making this poignant argument or position, right, is that when the call went out for people to go to Europe to fight for Jews in World War II, Guess who showed up? Guess who showed up? And guess who showed out? Right? They'll tell you that the bombs won the war, but they said that the war was already won before the bombs got dropped. That's why they never understood why they dropped the bombs. Those melanated grandfathers and great-grandfathers of some of yours, those men who had to still come home and deal with Jim Crow, right? When they got them out the country and they got an opportunity, right, to show, because they wanted to prove their equal footing as they have always done in quote-unquote American wars, right? They're vicious on the battlefield. They're vicious on the battlefield, right? The Negro soldiers were responsible for freeing Europe from Hitler. In particular, I think it is the Harlem Hellraisers, I think they're called. I forgot what battalion they was. I used to remember all of this stuff, right? Because these was the melanated men, the Harlem Hellfighters or Hellraisers, either one of those. 369, I think, was the number of the regiment. You could Google that for effects. If I'm wrong, you could correct me. If I'm right, so be it. Any which way. Melanated, it was a melanated regiment. I believe it was the 369 Harlem Hellfighters. And these was a contingency of melanated warriors, right, that went into Europe to fight the Nazis, and they also brought jazz with them. So they landed in France, right? They landed in France with their instruments, and they reminded the French of what's called the troubadours. The troubadours was the ancient Moors, okay, or the Moors of Lore, who used to put on entertainment in France for these European aristocrats. So they said the gods have returned, right? So France then becomes a place of a refuge for our melanated veterans, our grandfathers and our great-grandfathers, and jazz musicians in particular. When they finished the war, they had to come back here and deal with Jim Crow, right? And all of the racism that awaited them back at home when they thought that they was going to be treated like war heroes. They came back home and they was treated the opposite. So they said, I'm going to go back to where the love is at. You know what I'm saying? And they went back to Europe, and they were able to embellish in the long story history of what the Moors had already left in terms of them being, you know, royalty and dignitaries, right? Look into this dude, Black Mozart. He has a very amazing story, right? A very amazing story dealing with the French. And again, our ability to always be heralds of society, right? And we had to fight our way into it. He was a fencer, so he literally was fighting and beating all of their, you know, all of the Nordic prototypes, all of what they, you know, before Jesse Owens was doing that. We always been doing that. Every time that they furnished them a great white hope, we beat them. And this man was no difference. They say that he was responsible for a lot of the backdoor deals that led to the abolishment of slavery in Britain in 1806, I believe. Right? So they're accrediting him for his you know, his backdoor negotiations and everything that had to take place in private, you know what I'm saying, amongst dignitaries and nobles who respected him so much and saw his humanity. Now, his daddy was a colonizer, you feel me? But his daddy put on for him. His mama was Senegalese, you know what I'm saying? And his daddy, they said, loved him so much, he didn't you know, try to front like that wasn't his own. He was parading him back home like, yo, look, it's my seed. You know, this nigga's super talented. And he excelled at everything that he touched. You feel me? If you get the book by J.A. Rogers, Race and Color, or Sex and Race, should I say, Race No Color Line, I believe that's the other name of the book. All of those books, he lays out all of the stories of melanated greatness, 100 amazing facts about the Negro. He gives you all of the backstories about the melanated Europeans specifically who changed the world and changed the tides during the Renaissance periods and all through world history. This is the stuff that they just did not teach us in school. You know what I'm saying? But the information is available. So, yeah, where was I going with that? Okay, we was talking about the Harlem Hellfighters and, you know, what melanated people have done historically. You know, I don't remember any synagogue, any rabbis, any Jews, you feel me, coming off their high horse long enough to applaud the fighting efforts of melanated men in particular who went halfway around the planet and whooped the fucking Nazis when nobody else was able to do that. I don't recall hearing any applause. You know what I'm saying? But they want to gloss it over with, once again, democratic policies and tell you about the shit that was able to be done, you know, with the freedom fighters or freedom riders, you know. Oh, yeah, you know, one of our Jewish sons came down to Mississippi and died with you guys in civil rights, and we've been there as abolitionists from the beginning. Both Till and the U.S. in the Holocaust. So this movie, The U.S. in the Holocaust, is speaking about how long the U.S. sat out of the World War. And now the Jews are blaming the U.S. to say, you guys were responsible for us getting killed because y'all didn't enter the war at a decent time. But the second that they entered the war, guess who was kicking ass left and right and turned the tides of the war? Melanated people who were not dignified, right, at home where their humanity was motherfucking recognized. They still considered 3/5. Both Till and the U.S. and the Holocaust are structured around stories of victims who ascended to the status of historical avatars. Viewed together, it becomes clear Jim Crow killed Emmett Till, and Jim Crow with a foreign access killed Anne Frank. Look. No disrespect, Anne Frank. Okay? All my life, I've been hearing about this goddamn Anne Frank. I have not, motherfucker. That body, that one body, has garnered so much goddamn sympathy. We've had plenty Anne Franks after Anne Frank, to be frank. Part of the reason the stories of Emmett and Anne endure is because of the universal recognition of the innocence of children. No! If that was the case, then you would motherfucker still charge the lady that was responsible for Emmett Till getting killed to this day. Emmett Till endures and remembered because the entire civil rights protest, for the most part, kicked off after he was massacred and murdered in 1955. And because of the refusal of the American judicial system to rectify that egregious murder in the Deep South, right? The caucasity of them to try them in and to let them off with such a black eye and a blight during campaigns of Nazis and things of that internationally. That's why that man's name endures to this day. Right? Because of what was done in order to make and enshrine his name as an ancestor. You feel me? But he still has not received justice. So you can miss me with that. This is one of the elements Chuckwood captures with heartbreaking delicacy as she follows Manny throughout the course of Till. No, that ain't it. You feel me? That ain't it. We should not be making those comparisons and allow these people to make mockery, right, of our avatars, of our martyrs. And I'm saying he's martyred in the regards he did not get justice by the courts. But we could say that blood that was spilled spawned what we consider to be the Civil Rights Act. Now, again, Negroes, you may feel how you feel about that. You feel me? But it's real weird for you to be sitting in the position that you are today, talking crazy. Especially, once again, if your ass is in Atlanta, you should drive to Alabama and talk crazy, right? Or somewhere else up north. But don't sit in Atlanta. This is this is what they call the beacon on the hill. It was created by the blood spilled of civil rights. They utilize blood and they utilize media and politics to make some shit move to where it's at right now. And for those of us, if you are upset with that, then it's your job to get busy and start reversing the trends. Because that's all we got. Right? You had a... I'm gonna start going in. But anyway, these niggas just talk too much, man. It is strange to witness Kanye West or Brooklyn guards Kyrie Irving truck in lies and anti-Semitic stereotypical tropes, driving a wedge between two communities who have long worked together in the pursuit of, to the point of sacrificing their lives to do so, right? So now they get to tell you that Jews have sacrificed their lives to protect your peace, right? Or magnify your dignity and humanity because one of them died in Mississippi with the Freedom Riders, right? That's the power of blood. That's the power of blood. All you got to do is shed a little bit, nigga, and you part of a narrative forever. You can magnify it as much as you want. All you got to do is shed some. But if you ain't got no blood in the game, nigga, you don't got no say right now. On a recent episode of Saturday Night Live, Dave Chappelle seemed to delight in tweaking the more ridiculous behavior and pronouncements of Irvin and West, all the while winking at the anti-Semitic tropes they espouse, tropes that are usually used to justify violence against ghouls, right? That's where they going with it. Now, I'm telling you, they beating the drum. And because people are not mindful of how this shit works, right? They don't know what's going on. They totally missing out. Y'all don't even see the case these people is building in the background. I'm gonna give you just a brief idea of where they trying to take this thing. Right? Too much news, man. A lot going on. Hold on. Yeah, they're beating this. They're beating this thing out of control. Trump's family, guiding. Club DJ. Give me 1 second. Budweiser. All right, give me 1 second, y'all. I'm trying to shift through all this news, trying to find this information. Whew. I'm getting buried in the news. I'm going too far back. Man, long story short, because once again, I'm getting buried in all of these links and news that I got. They spinning it, man. They saying that anti-Semitism is up globally. You feel me? And with them bringing Netanyahu back in for a third term, I'm telling you, they're going to make a universal global declaration against anti-Semitism, and they are going to wage war on it, right? And if you think that there was a level of censorship and things of that nature prior to that, right? Wait on it. Okay? But I don't want to harp too much on that, because at this point it's like beating a dead horse. I did want to segue to CIA scientists, ancient civilization underwater. This is interesting, right? Again, as we keep speaking about the water worlds, as we keep speaking about Fukushima, right? As we keep speaking about, again, the evidence that they said that there's a blob of unexplained warm water moving around the planet, destroying ecosystems, right? And offsetting, all right, an entire ecological system. So that's Fukushima. They're talking about the radiation that's spreading around the planet from Fukushima that they never contained or got under control, that they just don't want to call it what it is. You feel me? And I explained to you about the subterranean realms, have been disturbed because of this radiation, as was explained to us by the Elder Mata G back in 2012. She said that she got a direct report, from these different spiritual communities, the mermaids and all of these mer empires, the different deities that live in subterranean realms in our oceans. You feel me? The call went out. They were being disturbed and burnt. All of these ancient subterranean creatures are now unearthing themselves, such as oarfish. Google it. Google oarfish. Google all of the deep sea creatures that have never been seen, only spoken about in mythology. They're beaching themselves consistently all over the planet. There's something going on in the subterranean realms that has disturbed the peace, if you will. And then I said, look at all of these movies that are coming out about subterranean, existences and civilizations. You feel me? Oarfish. Oarfish. OAR. Right? Deep sea dragons. You could Google all that. Oarfish. Deep sea creatures, never before seen. Now they seeing them all the time. So I said, look at the evidence of all of the movies where they're introducing you to these concepts, from Black Panther 2 to Avatar 2. Who? Aquaman, the Little Mermaid live movie that's coming. And then finally putting the mermaids back in their, proper persona in terms of them being indigenous. So now, here they go. Scientists are investigating signs of ancient human civilization underwater. An underwater Stonehenge stretches for miles under a lake in Europe. I think it was something with a cultic context. A cultic context. One researcher said. You feel me? A lot of evidence, a lot of information, a lot of stuff being unearthed. Unprecedented amount of things coming to the surface with the Mississippi drying up, right? All of that now is unearthing ancient relics and things of that nature. The Colorado River is drying up. Okay? All of these regions and these realms are now exposing things that have been hidden in plain sight. You feel me? And look at the budgets that they have thrown behind these things. You know, why is it so much money being spent and so much money going into, you know, these ancient underworld water civilizations, especially in Hollywood, right? They said the Avatar 2 is so expensive that it must become the fourth or the fifth highest grossing film in history just to break even. They are filming this entire movie literally underwater, right? Where the actors now have to become somewhat subterranean. You feel me? In order to act out these roles, right? They're not using too much simulation. The actual actors have to simulate their part underwater in order for this thing to pull off the way that they want it. They want it to be that realistic. And they want to give you an immersive experience. So when you're watching this, they said that it's literally like you're going to be underwater as well. So society, civilization is being prepped and primed, right, to get back into the water. If not physically, mentally, right? They want to deposit your brain, your consciousness, your attention into the water. Feel me? So they don't even got a limit on what they're allowing James Cameron to spend to simulate, right, this existence of this world for Avatar 2. They're supposed to be coming out next month. You know, these are very interesting developments. Like all of this money being spent on water, this much money is not being spent on water conservation. This much money is not being spent on, you know, them utilizing and finding a space and a place, you know what I'm saying, where they could source water. You know what I mean? Yeah, there's a war in the water and there's a war in the cosmos. You feel me? And there's a war on land. Right? So, ironically, they said around the same time, you know, again, Hollywood and the way that they shift focus and the way that they shift resources. You feel me? Well, we're not going back to the Piscean age, but Jupiter is going to be home in Pisces. And this is happening on or around about the next few days as well. So expansive water worlds are going to be supported cosmologically by the theme of Jupiter being back in Pisces, right? Because Jupiter is expansive and big, and Pisces is water, but the deep water, the depths, right? Hades, the underworld. Feel me? So ironically, they said that Harvey Weinstein, who was once the darling, the gooish darling of Hollywood, and the number one Democratic fundraiser, number one, right? He was the top bag man for the Dems, in particular the Clintons. Okay, he's on trial right now for his second rape case, and he's in California. He's in L.A. And just past weekend, they released a movie about his case, and it tanked. You know, and the movie was called She Said. You feel me? And I just found it interesting that it you know, not only did it tank, you know, it tanked, so what? But their sentiments about movies and how they preference movies for society, it was very interesting to hear what they said. You know what I'm saying? So I'll just share some of that with you, just so you know who you're dealing with, these folks that you're dealing with, especially you Democrats, because you guys are so gullible. And that's no disrespect. I'm just saying, goddamn, y'all don't ask no questions about nothing. About nothing. You just give me the loot, huh? All right. So it only did 2.2 million, and it opened in 2022 theaters, right? His statement on it that he wasn't surprised that it bombed. That's what's his statement on it. Why? One, because he knows his Hollywood friends is not going to support a movie about him necessarily, right? When this is the biggest history, this is the biggest secret in Hollywood that nobody wanted to talk about until it came out, right? But look at what they said. They said now a spokesman for Weinstein, who one would think has more important things to do than comment on the release of She Said, has issued a statement on his behalf. The film She Said bombing isn't a surprise. Judah Engelmeyer told Variety, let's guess who she's from. Movie watchers want to be entertained, especially now. Details of the investigation, the Me Too movement, the story of Weinstein and the accusers have been told over and over again these past 5 years, and it is clear that there was little worth paying attention to. Damn. Right? So she like, ain't no story here. This nigga's on trial right now, accused of sexually molesting the wife of the governor. Of Los Angeles. Of California, per se. Right? And they like, yo, there's nothing to see here. This ain't entertainment. We over it already. Right? The people is only into entertainment to be entertained. They said, in so many words, rape is an insular crime that only offends the person that's offended, and it's not societal. It don't have enough of a societal imprint to make people care enough about it. Look, I'm going to show you this shit, because y'all be thinking that I'll be making this up. This is what they think about you, right? In no uncertain terms. Did I screenshot that part of the conversation? Dog filleted. That ain't it. In so many words, that's what was said. You know what I'm saying? You don't got to take my word on it. I was going to say, don't take my word on it. Go and check the article out. Right? And it's a little difficult right here, right now to read. But let me go back. Because if I could do this and get it on record, because I know you ain't can go and research it for yourself. Let me put it on record. Just to show you. These are the people who have the caucasity to sit in front of you and talk to you about morality and who you ain't and who you are. You know what I'm saying? You niggas can never be us. Oh, really? Apologist, right? That was an interesting word that I was researching. I thought it meant something totally different. I do like learning new words. For the record, let me see. Okay. No. Give me 1 second. I think I found it. Shout out to my brother Human. If you are still in the building, I definitely want to bring you in so I could get into one of these segments with this story that I'm about to hit on. All right, because, yeah, that's it. I don't have. But he has been replaced. He has been replaced, right, as the number 2 Democratic financial fundraiser, right? The second person, the number 2 would get in the bag for the Dems was this dude called Sam Bankfried, right? Bankfriedman. Again, guess who's? I wonder whose ethnicity he's a part of. Right? This is shit that Chappelle was saying about it. It's just a coincidence. You can't point it out though, right? All of these figures who we keep talking about, guess where they from? Guess what their ethnicity is, right? They done shaved $1 trillion something off of the crypto market, off of these people's straight up negligence. You feel me? So this person was the second Democratic fundraiser in the country. And there seems to be a resounding theme. The more money that you give to Democrats, the more that they will shield you from prosecution. Right? And these people are always tinkering around something dealing with somehow child pornography, child trafficking, sexual trafficking, all of the sticky, ugly stuff. Right? It always comes back to them. All of the sexual improprieties. It always lands at their feet and sits on their desk. But we can't make the comparisons even though we notice a pattern. Because that will be considered, you know the word. Right? You done heard it enough as of lately. You know the vibes. You feel me? But it got to be one of them things that you just point out, but you just can't really delve into. You dig? I wanted to, once again, you know what I'm saying, regardless of what happens politically and who the donors are, right? Because remember, they represent 1% of the population, right? But they control politics and they control media. The people who they galvanize to go to the voting polls, even though they call them minorities, they damn sure are dependent and contingent on your votes when it comes time to vote, right? You may be the minority, quote unquote, in this country as 13%, but your vote means so much to them, so they make it seem. They keep telling you that the future of this country rests on your shoulders, and then they're gonna make it a Georgia thing as always. You feel me? They're gonna make it a Georgia thing, and this is gonna come down to: do melanated people care more about Warnock, or do Caucasians care more about Herschel Walker? Because they know melanated people is not going to vote for Herschel Walker, so to speak. Because melanin is only concentrated in Atlanta, in Georgia. Do you know this? Do y'all get that? That everywhere else outside of Atlanta's Klan country, including Atlanta, right? Even if it's considered to be the shining beacon of hope, quote unquote, in the South, it's still, a Klan stronghold, because the undergirding and the underpinning of this particular society and power in this society is Masonic. It's Masonic. So even though, this gentleman might be in the church and he's part of a democratic tradition of the Ebenezer. Him, just like his predecessors, belong to, or for the most part, I'm sure. I can't castigate him and put him in that light, but I'm almost certain that this nigga's in the lodge, just like King was and the rest of his people are. You feel me? So, yeah, that refusal to acknowledge how deep the discrimination actually goes, or what's the undergirding and the underpinning element of it, is fraternal. It's fraternal. So you're never gonna get around racism in this country. You know what I'm saying? If you don't infiltrate the lodges, right? Because how can the lodge once again be a tax accredited organization? They're receiving 501c tax benefits, but they're exclusionary. They don't allow coloreds or women in there. People should disrupt that. They should disrupt that and disrupt these people's good old boy club. You feel me? That's the only way that you're going to shake some shit up. You're not going to necessarily be able to do it just through the polls and through voting. It has larger implications of why these people pass the legislation that they do, why they do the things that they do, right? You think that they're just practicing what they practicing, and they out here practicing geomancy and all kind of shit to ensure that certain things end up certain places for certain reasons. You know, I was in my library stash the other day, and again, because of what I'm seeing, it's like, yo, we really need to get back to the book clubs, because all of the stuff that we need to know is in books. It's not online necessarily. No disrespect to the online community, but we gotta get back to reading. You feel me? We gotta get back to reading, because I mean, there's just so much qualification of what I can find in books. The Illustrated Encyclopedia of Native American Indian Mounds and Earthworks, right? If you want to sit down with our fellow indigenous brothers and sisters, especially the ones that identify themselves as part of the first 500 nations, or the quote unquote red man, yes, it's time that we sit down and have a whole conversation about the mound builders, and not who we think we are, but who we know we are. And we got to be able to see ourselves, you know, eye to eye and face to face. But you got to have the receipts. You know what I'm saying? You got to have the receipts. And the receipts is in the books. You know, they know who they are, and they know who they not. Once again, because for whatever reason, the fact that we don't know who we are, you know, it has allowed for all of these violations to take place. And everybody's running with the cloth. You know what I'm saying? We know that the people who they identify as the Indians of today, they don't build like this. You know what I'm saying? This is not this ain't their stuff. No disrespect. This is Mississippian mound culture, right? This is where you come into the conversation, but you have to know yourself. Look at all of this stuff in the Mississippis. What's the name of the book? The Illustrated Encyclopedia of Native American Indian Mounds and Earthworks. Right? This is the Bible of it. You feel me? If you want to talk that talk, Emerald Mound. This name of this book, just screenshot this. Illustrated Encyclopedia of Native American Indian Mounds and Earthworks. Feel me? Look at this. Emerald Mound. The ones in Ohio, it's my favorite. You're talking about Serpent Mound. Ohio got a lot of mound sites. I went to Newark Earthworks and the Adena Hopewell. These are the two different giants. These are the tribe of the giants out of Ohio, right? Mounds and several circular earthworks are found at this Adena and Hopewell era site spread out in an area nearly 2 miles wide. Yeah, so anytime you see Adena or Hopewell, giants, right? Hence the fact that when they deal with LeBron, they be like, he's the giant from Akron. They just don't call him the kid from Akron. They call him the giant from Akron because he's part of a storied legacy of giants from Ohio. Giants. Ohio was home to the giants. The giants and the Hopewell and the Adena, they got killed out, they said, in the 1800s warring with the Lenape. Okay. These, it's just mounds all over the place, especially in Ohio. But this is my favorite. This is my spot, the Serpent Mound. Okay. And Serpent Mound, these are astrological calendars, right? This is how we measured the stars. This is how we kept, this is like our clock. You know what I'm saying? Just like this is what it's hitting for. You feel me? Our observations of astrological cycles, in particular, the solstices and the equinox, all of it was templated in this particular configuration, which is called a Serpent Mound, of which has been estimated that it may be about 10,000 years old, right? Y'all gonna respect my bars. Here we go. In the late 1990s, archaeoastronomers found that the snake is aligned to Polaris, and the head and snake are aligned to the sunset at the summer solstice. Other solar alignments were also incorporated into the undulations of the serpent's body. 3 conical burial mounds are also at the site, right? I keep telling y'all about Polaris as it applies to Kanye West. It is the North Star. It's the guiding node of where we build civilizations around. But yeah, Ohio's nonstop. I mean, you see all of the mounds. It's just nonstop. It's just nonstop. Feel me? Shout out to the Ohio players and the family that's out there in Ohio that don't really understand why their land is so weird. Y'all don't understand why shit be off the hook, or why the Illuminati is situated in Cincinnati. And Cincinnati means the city of 7 hills. So Rome is in Cincinnati, y'all. Trust me when I tell you. Don't let that go over your head either. Polaris is it's the North Star. It's located in Ursa Minor, the Little Bear constellation. Feel me? Look at this. Look at Tennessee. Look at all of these mounds and these civilizations. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, Cincinnati, the city of 7 hills. That is their stronghold. They're sitting there right underneath your nose. Okay? Trust me. Why do Columbus have the dark cloud over it? Why do Cleveland have the dark cloud over it? Why do these cities have that dark cloud? Because of these civilizations that have been decimated, these mounds that have been destroyed in these cities. You're literally living on burial grounds. And you wonder why shit is buck wild. You wonder why Cleveland is the way that it is and other places like that. It's because of this disrespect. Let's not even get into Tennessee and Memphis and them areas, right? Because you can see it all, Non-stop. It's just, if you have 500 nations here, you know what I'm saying? And they said that when they got here, shit was already set up. This don't come from them. This comes from ancient civilizations that predate what's considered to be the Native American, right? Mound Bottom in Tennessee. You know what I'm saying? Poverty Point in Louisiana. You know? West Virginia got them. They're everywhere. I got them right here on Moreland Avenue, right off, up the block from where my mama at. Louisiana. Kentucky got them. Crazy. Here go Louisiana. Right? They call them plantation mounds. Mounds, all over the place. You feel me? Inslee Mounds. See if they get into Poverty Point. Jordan site. Markville. Mott Place Mounds. All of this still Louisiana. Trying to get to Poverty Point. There we go. There go Poverty Point, right? So Poverty Point is considered the oldest structure in the Americas, not just North America, in the Americas. This is considered one of the oldest structures. Now, you know how old they saying the pyramids are in Mexico and shit like that? So if this is the oldest structure in the Americas, older than the pyramids, how old is our story here? You feel me? So look at how they set their civilization up. Right? This is Poverty Point. Shout out to the Washita. Shout out to the Empress. Right? Shout out to the Moors down there who've been trying to tell y'all forever and a day about our story, history, and its landmass. Feel me? Troyville Mounds. So this is the name of the book. The Illustrated Encyclopedia of Native American Mounds and Earthworks. Yeah, definitely check out Great Mystery Philadelphia by Ross Ben. And also Free Your Mounds and Your Mounds Will Follow. I may have that in my book stash here. I've got so many books right now. I haven't made it to that one yet. But let me see. There's something else I can share with you. This. Hidden Cities. The discovery and loss of ancient North American civilization. Feel me? This book is going to astound people. It's going to give them a past they have never imagined and challenge them to a future they have forgotten how to dare to dream. It is a work of impeccable, implacable scholarship, but it is even more a work of mystery and redemption. Ooh. Right? Okay. These are those ancient maps. When they called over here, this is the Occidental, right? Over east is called the Oriental. Occidental means the west, right? There goes that Mississippi. Look, I ain't even mean to turn to this. You feel me? But y'all gonna have to do your own homework. You know what I mean? But here you go. George Washington, his land, its inhabitants, and the Cincinnati, y'all. Don't overlook it. trying to put you on to something. Masonically telling you a secret. God damn it, Cincinnati. Okay? WRP. Cincinnati. Trust me when I tell you. Okay? The Cincinnati. Shit go deep, y'all. You're just living in these areas and these regions and not understanding what it's really, really, really hitting for. Few realize that some of the oldest, largest, and most complex structures of ancient archaeology were built on earth, clay, and stone right in the Americas in the Ohio and Mississippi valleys. From 6,000 years ago until quite recently, North America was home to some of the most highly advanced and well-organized civilizations in the world, complete with cities, roads, and commerce. From the lost city of Balbanchta near New Orleans to the Great Hopewell Road, a causeway for religious pilgrims along the Ohio River in the 13th century, these cultures built hundreds of thousands of structures, of which a small but tantalizing portion still remain. Like the Druids of Salisbury Plain, they pattern extraordinarily precise geometry according to the rising and the setting of the moon, right? Once again, get into your shit. How to use the phases of the moon to get what you want. This is ancient history, not some modern new age shit. Like the ancient Egyptians, they organized millions of hours of human labor to construct pyramids, platforms, and plazas. In hidden cities, Robert G. Kennedy sets out on a bold quest of recovery of the rich heritage of the North American peoples and a reimagination of the true relations of their modern-day successors and neighbors. Okay? Like, I don't want to waste your time. Feel me? Sitting up here acting like we deep. I'm saying, like, we can learn together because the information is accessible, it's out there, and it will blow your mind. You know what I'm saying? If you just engage. If you're just willing to engage. I want to shout out my sister, Queen Najda. She had a beautiful event this past Sunday, where she brought the tribes, she brought the families together. You know? Let me get to her real quick. Let me get to one of these pics. I ain't got a lot of pictures from that day for myself. I was dripping too, but I don't really get that, you know. I don't be getting it in no more like that, so I don't have a lot of drip to show you, but I'll show you the queens, the mamas, the umis. Oop. Let me switch it up. That was that silly. I want to not cut her face off. Let me give y'all some of this, because I'm sure that y'all can appreciate this clip, especially for my sisters in the building. Y'all remember this tune. You remember this tune?
Your head messing up my sheets and violating me. Got me about to call my peeps and take it to the streets. There's nothing you can do and there's nothing you can say that could persuade me to stay with your ass for one more day. You have crossed the line to the point of no return. What you do from here on out, I am. See, I heard it all before. All of your lies, all of your sweet talk. Baby this, baby that. But you're... I love y'all so much. Give it up one time for DJ Rockwell. Give it up one time for Queen Portia.
Yeah.
And of course, give it up one time for my girl, Queen Nazda.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for having me today. I just want to say thank you. Messing up my sheets and violating me. Got me about to call my peeps and take it to the street.
Yeah. That was that throwback. Shout out to Sunshine Anderson. Thank you for the opportunity. You know what I'm saying? It was a dope event. Oh, let me do this before I get too ahead of myself. Shout out to Red. I see he's in the building. We got to make an announcement. You know, there has been a lot of people requesting. Yes, she is from Charlotte. We have postponed the Charlotte event coming this strong in. So many people said that they won't be there because of family travel. They made plans prior. The stars did not align for this event for a physical showing. There was a lot of, obstacles, if you will, and we felt that it was just best that we fall back and wait. You know what I mean? Because a lot of people are traveling out of town for the quote-unquote holidays to be with their family. So we will be doing something virtual. Hopefully this does not inconvenience anyone. You can holler at us. You can hit us up if you have made plans and you need some redress or what have you. Please feel free to holler at us. But we will be pushing the Charlotte event, the physical aspect of the Facts Tour of us, touching down in Charlotte, 10 toes. That's going to be after the quote-unquote holidays. Normally, there's about 44 million people who travel during this holiday season. And I know that because I stay on top of the number. Just like there's about 44 million turkeys that are killed this year as well. Sacrificed. Anyway. This year is 55 million. Right? Normally it's 44 million. But this year they said it's going to be 55 million people traveling. And it starts today. Right? So it's going to be a lot of congestion. A lot of people have not had opportunities to travel to be with their family. And they're taking that opportunity this year. So a lot of people were feeling left out. You know what I'm saying? Because they're not going to be in town. So yeah, that's the word that we have to share with the family. You know what I'm saying, about this upcoming strong end. But Red will be doing something online on the 30th. Right, we're going to be doing it on KTLUniversity.com, and it's going to be our initiation, launching of our political campaign, Facts 24. Just like how you see Ye running around with Ye 24, Facts 24 is what it is. We're campaigning for the hearts and the minds of our people, bringing resources in a very methodically thought out, full-scale plan to the planet, to our people in particular. So, again, our apologies if there has been any inconvenience on your behalf. If you were traveling, please halt that. You know what I'm saying? And let's recalibrate in the quote-unquote new year. Right? So let me show y'all another book of value, This one right here. Sacred Places, North America, 108 Destinations, right? An interesting book for both the armchair and the adventurous traveler. This book is recommended. So all of the mystical places, you're always, anytime they talk about mystical anything, you're always going to see Serpent Mound. You feel me? But these is 108 different sites through the entire Americas, North, Central, and South. The continent, I would imagine, is what they're speaking on. Right? Effigy Mounds, Iowa, Central Plains, right? These look like the Hopi. Okay, Monument Valley, Arizona and Utah, which was one part of the empire. Los Alamos, right? You see these same configurations. You also see these same figures in West Africa amongst the Mali tribe. This configuration, these figures are what connects our people, right? And the motifs that you can tell that there was a connection at some point, because when you go to West Africa, you'll find these motifs, but you find them in Utah, you find them in Canada, you find them in Arizona, New Mexico. Well, New Mexico, Utah, and Arizona was all part of an empire at one point, separated by the Colorado River. Feel me? So they said what? Nearly everywhere the primitive people roamed in western North America, they left an enduring record of their culture in the form of pictures etched on rocks. One of the principal rock art symbols of the Four Corners region is the hunchback flute player called Kokopelli. This anthropomorphic being's frequent and widespread appearance on pottery and pictography suggests that he was well-traveled and a universally recognized deity of considered potency. Now, they don't tell you why and what they mean by universally recognized. And they say that he's a traveler, but they don't say, oh, we found him across the water in quote-unquote Africa as well. Right? They don't want to tell you that part. But you could pull up West African motifs, in particular from the Mali, from the Dogon, and you're going to find this particular character, Kokopelli. Right? Symbolizing variously as a water sprinkler, a wandering minstrel, a fertility enhancer, or an inspired musician, Kokopelli in all of these variations has come to be known as the Casanova of the ancient ones. Woo! This nigga was a player. While his name currently varied over the centuries amongst the different cultures that depicted him, the modern name Kokopelli derives from the northwestern Arizona Hopi people who have a Kachina god named after the humpback flute player. Regardless of the other names this traveling Pied Piper may have gone by, his image spreads far beyond his original Four Corners homeland. Far beyond, huh? Yeah. Look at the indigenous. Rocky Mountain region, right? Moose Mountain, Medicine Whale, right? Look at all of these astrological observations and alignment. You know what I mean? This has to be who we always have been, who we were. We always were mindful of these things, right? Stop. I'm gonna stop. Maui, the Hawaiian Islands, right? I don't know. They had to slip Burning Man into there somehow. Cathedral Rock in Sedona. It's a UFO base. Alaska and Hawaii, West Coast states, Zion National Park. I believe that's Utah. You feel me? Mad motherfucking mysteries is hidden in Utah. See? Utah, Colorado, Arizona, New Mexico was all one empire, right? These are the four corners. You see it? These are the four corners. These were all an empire separated by the Colorado River, of which now is going to take you on the other side dealing with California or the Caliph. Right? They go to Navajo Reds. For the reservations. Look, this is the Zuni Reservation. These are the people I get my jewelry from. Okay? But yeah, here go your four corner hustlers right here. Yeah, Moab, Utah. Utah everything. Utah, Colorado, Arizona, New Mexico, right? Who's willing to go back to Utah to get our shit? Who's willing to step to the Mormons like, yo, give me my shit back? It's the name of the book. Sacred Places of North America, 108 destinations, a very mystical number. Yeah. Cathedral Rock is magical as fuck. There's just no other way to explain this shit, man. I really want y'all to get out here and experience these things, man. Let's get the fuck out of this country and go and experience some real life stuff. Shout out to the EYL brothers. I want to play this clip real quick and we can segue into the next phase of this conversation. But they speaking about getting out the country too and experiencing things. I think these brothers is in the United Emirates right now. Right? There you go. Right? They say that they don't negotiate with terrorists. Here you go. Saudi Arabia got the whole world in a figure in a leg lock because of oil. They get to do what they want. When they want, how they want, where they want. Don't let nobody tell you different. You feel me? When you see them pushing back on the Saudis, then you know things have changed. But until then, miss me with all that.
Another reason why I wore this jersey, by the way, too. World Cup football is what the world calls it. Soccer is what America calls it. The biggest sport in the world by a landslide. It's not even actually close. So that's an extremely important event that only happens once every 4 years. So what are some things that we learn? Okay. I mean, the biggest thing is just to always think globally. And I think that that's something, already kind of on that wavelength already. But I think a lot of times in America, we kind of get caught in our own bubble because, everything is, America is a place where you can become isolated from the world without knowing it, because everything is here.
Oh, damn, my bad. Damn, what did I just do? My bad. They got Ethiopian slaves in it. They got a lot of going on in the UAE.
Another reason why I wore this jersey, by the way, too. World Cup football is what the world calls it. Soccer is what America calls it. The biggest sport in the world by a landslide. It's not even actually close. So that's an extremely important event that only happens once every 4 years. So what are some things that we learn? Okay. I mean, the biggest thing is just to always think globally. And I think that that's something, already kind of on that wavelength already. But I think a lot of times in America, we kind of get caught in our own bubble because, everything is, America is a place where you can become isolated from the world without knowing it, because everything is here and everything is at your fingertips. And, you don't really have to pay attention to the world. But that's dangerous because it's like you don't really know what's going on outside of you. And it's only, I think America only makes up like 5% of the world's population. So you're actually, you're isolated inside of a bubble. But the thing about it, America is pretty much different from every other part of the world. But every other part of the world is kind of similar to each other. So even if you look at like temperature, right? Like America is the only country that does Fahrenheit. Every other country does Celsius. If you look at the measuring units, America is really the only country that does miles. They do like kilometers. Every other country does that. When you look at how they measure time, America is really the only country that does a clock, how we use it. Most countries use military time. If you look at that's a good point. Pounds, another thing. Most countries don't do it. How we measure it in pounds is different, but they're all in line with each other. Whether it's Africa, Asia, they all are in line with each other. And America is the complete opposite. Even time. So in America today, what's today's date? The 21st. So in America, it's November 21st, 2021. If you really think about it, that doesn't make any sense. Every other part of the world, they do 21, 11, 22 because it's the day, the month, and then the year. So if you think about it, it's like the smaller one, the bigger one, then the biggest one. That makes more sense. I say that to say America is completely different from the world, and you learn that when you start to travel the world. Even though America has the greatest influence, and a lot of influence is shipped all over the world, it's still different. So you have a greater appreciation for things when you start to travel, and then you understand why Drake makes an album like that tech house music album that he made, because that's the music which they call world music. That's the music that's they could be in Africa listening to that. You could be in South of France.
Good in Mexico.
So you could be in Mexico, wherever. So you start to understand, like, oh, this is a global audience. Now you understand why Bad Bunny is, going crazy. 80,000 people at his shows. Like, this is a global audience, right? So I say that to say the opportunities are immense all over the world. And us just being out here in the United Arab Emirates and meeting people from New York City, that black people from New York City that moved out here and is getting to it. And a lot of times, you have misconceptions about things and you're misinformed. And it's like, oh, these people don't like you. These people they don't like you in America. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Facts.
that's just a fact. But everybody that I spoke to, they said they love it. They love it out here. They said it's safe. There's no crime.
Yeah, no crime.
There's opportunity. Everybody has greeted them with open.
So, could we have an open conversation real quick before 2023 kicks in? And, I'm only speaking to people who are upwardly mobile, right? Who want to actually get out here in the world and do some things and shake some things up, and forward the narrative or what have you. How open are you to relocation, right? If you had to go to the United Emirates, if you had to go to the eastern part of the planet to put some things into motion, either one, to get your finances together, secure your legacy, follow your dreams, right? Like, if you can't build here in America and maximize the potential of the things that you feel are your dreams, are you willing to get up and go to places where they will be accepted? Because I'm just thinking about the fact that our people migrated all around the planet, because we keep telling people how we moved all around the planet and populated the planet. But just think about in the 40s and the 50s and the 60s, once again, how when our people came back from the war and they were not able to get no traction here in their own country, they went back to Europe. You know what I'm saying? The jazz musicians went to France. Nina Simone and them got up out of here. People bounced, right? Like, we think Africa been open forever. Africa been open, like Europe and all of that stuff only came over here in the 60s and the 70s. It ain't been over here for long. People had to go and open doors and bring stuff back. Yes, our people maximize the Great Migration from the South, from these Mississippian areas, right? This Mississippi culture, again, melanated people, whether you came here on a boat or whether your folks was here, what happened in the Mississippi area, Delta area, and the Ohio Valley area with our people is things of legends. The latest iteration of who and what you are as a people, you got here and you did some miraculous things. And you brought culture around this country and ultimately used it as a catalyst and a springboard to bring it around the world. From what they did in Detroit and the Motown, the Midwest, right? What they've done in Ohio, what they've done with the manufacturing aspects of who we were as laborers. It wasn't hundreds of years. We went out there and put in like 30, 40 years of work. And nothing has been the same. Right? When we migrated and took our potential, right, to these regions, we transformed these regions. And when industry left, then these regions fell apart and we became trappers and we tapped into underworld resources and did what we have to do. I'm looking at the BMF documentary. He migrated. I mean, this is our story. Unfortunately, This is our story, unfortunately, but this is what we do. So what do we think that this next level of migration is going to look like? You know, I was supposed to go to Dubai in March. Shout out to my brother Mansa. And I didn't make it. You know, I got back to Atlanta, got caught up in this Atlanta thing. But I still want to go to Dubai. I still want to go to the continent. I got so many invites. You know, I haven't finished trekking through Europe and doing my studies. You know what I'm saying? So next year, you could expect to see a lot less of us here, or me and mine. Babe, you coming, right? All right, yeah. I can't leave. I can't leave, baby, man. So, yeah, it ain't gonna be fun without her, you know. So, yeah, we getting to it internationally, getting out here in the world, you feel me? And spreading this good gospel, you know what I mean? I don't know if we're gonna do tours as much. It depends, you know, if I get someplace and we done open up some portals and we feel that the people gotta tap into it. But I want to do my own exploratory missions. I want to do my own cultural exchanges. I want to move around abroad. I want to learn a new language. I want to, you know, learn other cultures. You know what I'm saying? I want to get closer to my indigenous and heritage culture. I want to go to the continent. I want to see what it's hitting for. I don't prescribe to what people talking about, and that's no disrespect to them. I don't throw away the continent. You feel me? I don't turn my back on the continent. I don't got nothing bad to say about the continent. I ain't one of them people that's like, I ain't fucking African. Look, my people could have been here for thousands of years. You feel me? There's still an aspect of my people that came from the continent wherever they showed up, because those were seafaring people. They moved around the globe. Somebody came from somewhere. Even if my people originated here and got on a boat and went across the continent, I want to go see them people over there and what they on right now. Regardless of which way the migration took place, I want to go there. I want to go just like my ancestors did. When my ancestors were traveling the earth, they wasn't being fucking petty. Like, oh, nah, we already been there. Or them other niggas is over there. No, they was going places and getting on the ocean and sailing to unknown places, going up against the elements. So I want to know. I want to know for sure. Before I'm not closing the door on nothing based on what somebody else is doing with their life. I'm compelled to go back and then bring what's over there back over here to create and forge relationships between melanated people where we can rise up against adversarial forces wherever they rear their head. And we could be so locked into one another's culture and a willingness to defend it that nobody can say nothing crazy about you. I ain't even got to be from where you from. Guess what? They can't talk crazy about you. That's what friends and family supposed to do, point blank, period. Friends and family supposed to do that. And the fact that we're not doing that as a nation of people shows that we're not true friends to ourselves, period. We don't even understand befriending our own selves. We can't be friends to nobody else. We ain't got no friends. Nigga, you unfriendly as fuck. You don't got no friends, nigga. That ain't because they don't want to be your friends. We ain't got no friends. That ain't because they don't want to be your friends. You don't got no friends because you hard as fuck to love, my nigga. And you have not mastered loving yourself. And you don't have criteria for yourself and for your family and your friends. Talking about you don't got friends. You isolating yourself. Did you hear him say that as Americans, you represent 5% of the global population? As melanated people in America, they say that you represent 13 to 14%, roughly 44 to 45 million people. Amongst those people, now we're split down the middle where there's foundational blacks and other people that got mixed heritage, right? And then it's regional. Oh, you niggas is from the South. I'm from the Northwest. I'm from the Midwest. I'm from here. I'm from there. So now it's just you and the niggas on your block. And then you beefing with them because you sell crack on one side of the street and they sell crack over there. So it's like you and your three homies. That's your world. Talking about you ain't got no friends. Nigga, you need friends. Globally. Right? You need to forge relationships and step into the global community because you exporting all of that fucking toxicity around the globe. You don't got no friends, but you've already paid for your friends. You've already paid the cost. You're not reaping the benefits of the fact that people fuck with you because you caught up in this isolationist attitude about yourself where you're only hugging your block. Now, I've been to both coasts, and I've been to all the, and I can't say every hood, but I've been to enough hoods to know that niggas do not, just like they was in the East Coast. Oh, you niggas is ghouls and goblins and and y'all never left your neighborhood. And then I go to the West Coast, and it's the same thing. The gangbangers, they got injunctions, so they got an excuse to be like, oh, I can't leave my neighborhood. But nonetheless, they keep them boxed in to a 4-block radius in a box, literally. I want to go to, there's still places in the Caribbean I haven't been. What I look like? I'm supposed to ignore even distant cousins and distant relatives to do what? To be in some motherfucker, to be in a European's face? Now, when I go to Europe, I'm going to explore, ancient Moorish history. Oh, of which reminds me, I have a YouTube tonight that's going to be powerful. This is the anniversary of a lecture series that our brothers went to Bavaria. They went to Germany and cracked open the code on the Holy Roman Empire, which was the ancient story of the Moors when they was in Rome before the Roman Catholics got there. Right? So Black Dot, Brother Obar, me, myself, Blue Pillar will be joining Knowledge Born of Law at 7 p.m., I believe. And this is today. Oh, shit. Oh, shit. This is at 3. Oh. Hmm?
Oh,
Yeah.
it's 4.
Huh?
It's 4 o'clock.
It was supposed to be at 7. Why did it say 3 on the flyer?
3 East our time.
It was supposed to be 7 p.m.
Nobody called you?
Huh? Nobody? No, but my phone is not.
You don't do not disturb?
Yeah, my shit is on Do Not Disturb.
Let me see if they
Could you go online and see if they on
YouTube.
Do the Knowledge Radio on YouTube?
Jesus Christ, Brother Blue.
What the fuck? I wouldn't agree to do nothing at 3 p.m. on a Tuesday though. That don't sound right.
Yeah, they on live right now.
Oh shit, I gotta go, y'all. My bad. Nah, son. Yeah, I gotta go. It's super early. Yeah, I don't remember agreeing.
Up to your chat.
Nobody put up to my chat. I ain't get a text or nothing. But I did agree to be there. So I hear Doc going in. I got to show up and show my love and my support for my brothers who did a monumental feat. Going to Bavaria, Germany 14 years ago. A.A. Rashid was on that bill. They tell us that we were supposed to be included, but we weren't. Nonetheless, True Master was put in our place, and True Master went and did a monumental lecture on the Holy Roman Empire. These was the Moors that was in Europe before the quote unquote what we consider to be the European Romans, the Christian ones. All right. So I gotta go, but I had mad books I wanted to run in. You know, I had mad books I wanted to run through. But we'll get back to the books, I guess. You know, when I get back in, I really wanted to get into this book right here. You feel me? Okay. And I had some other news I wanted to run through and some announcements I wanted to make in the tech space with my brother Human. Man. I'll be back. All right. Peace, family. Yeah, the YouTube is Do the Knowledge Radio. Okay, Do the Knowledge Radio. I'm going to put the post up on my page right now.